Over the centuries of Canada's history, the welcoming of newcomers into our midst has become a tradition. It is the way we grow as one of the most unique societies in the world. For the individuals involved, both the newcomers and those who help them, it is also a way to grow spiritually and psychically.
When I came here, in the way I saw that people is here, the churches, so something born in my heart. That's why I accepted Jesus as my Savior, and I was baptized in this country. So I started a new life through the examples I saw.
There are so many beautiful stories about refugees, success stories about who they are in society and who they are in what they have done for the community. We have the case of a woman who actually saw her husband killed in front of her. And there was another woman, a very wealthy woman, who was grieving the loss of her husband. She had to get out of the state she was in. So she decided that she would volunteer 1 day a week at Chez Marie in St. Catharines. And she came in and she started to talk to this other refugee woman. And she said, after a few weeks, she said, never in my life did I think that a person from such a different background, so much less advantaged economically, completely different from myself, could become like my sister in such a short time. Because somehow the refugee woman understood her situation and vice versa, and they lived something very deeply.
The staying power of church people, what is their deep commitment to refugees in these very complicated and complex circumstances is quite a remarkable thing. And it's something that I tried to explore in my research. A lot of individuals talked about their personal faith when they discussed exactly this question: why do you do what you do? How can you do it? One particular individual had lost a child, for example, a devastating tragedy in their lives, and it was the pain of losing their own child that allowed them to relate to a particular family where 2 of the children were murdered. A Jewish woman, for example, had lost relatives to the Holocaust, and she said, well, if my children were in her country looking for asylum, I would want her to do what I should do for them. So she was making that connection. I would want someone to do this for my children.
Lives change in the process of welcoming the stranger. Children grow up together. Cultures, even languages, are exchanged. The definition of what it means to be a member of a family becomes a lot bigger. What might begin as a simple act of compassion, of helping someone in trouble, can turn out to last a lifetime.
Y realmente están en mi corazón.
Like Gisela says, I am very grateful with the whole Georgetown committee, and everybody is in her heart.
For the brief time that you lived with us in our house, it was, it just, I guess, taught me a lot of things, that people are the same, and you as a mother for your children have a great love for your children, and you as a father, and that love was carried over to my kids as well.
They are going to learn from you what you are doing, and my kids are going to do the same in the future for another people who are going to be strangers in this country.
I had seen this happen on TV, etc., but people from different countries, but actually meeting someone who didn't speak my language and I didn't speak their language, and to welcome them as a friend, which is basically what I had to do. I had to be able to accept a stranger, and this is what the gospel had always taught you to do.
It also makes you realize, I think, as a Christian, perhaps how much you've been hoodwinked by the economics of our way of living, because The main argument I think that's used in Canada about the levels of immigrants and refugees that we receive is that it'll negatively affect the economy.
We had a number of families we've been involved with over the years, my husband and I, and especially my husband. And one of them is a Laotian family, and over the years we've known them for about 19 years now. And we were at a funeral, and we went back. They asked us back to the house, and it was just packed from floor to ceiling with people from the basement right up, wasn't it? And we were sat there and we're talking about different things, and I said, yes, you're so lucky because you have your mother and father here, and you have sisters and brothers. My husband and I, we don't really have an extended family like you do. I said, you're so fortunate. And she says, you do have an extended family. She says, you have us. Because if you ever need any help, we will always be there for you. And that really touched me. It was like a turning of the tables, so to speak.
I want to tell you something. What I feel is that we are a big family. We are not just a Thompson family or Berry family or Cabeza family. We are a big family in Jesus. And that I think if Jesus is watching us, he's going to be so pleased that what we are doing.